Alright, so here's some thoughts on the movie The Fourth Kind, which I saw in the movie theater and I thought was pretty interesting, and there was such a ring of truth to it that I kind of half believed it was true and half not believe it's true. And it turns out that that's actually still my opinion. First of all, I found out that the so-called footage that they say is real in the movie is in fact fake. The whole thing is a fake because the person who plays the real Dr. Abigail Tyler is an actress named Charlotte Multich, or something like that. Anyway, she's an actress. You see pictures of her, you can tell it's her. And when I was watching her performance, or her, her screen time, I was thinking, if her name doesn't show up in the credits at all, well, that means that she put on a terrific act and worked hard on that movie. Because I've studied acting, and I can tell you that's no easy trick that she did. Okay, you have to be talented, you have to know what you're doing. Okay, and she does a great job. And so that would mean that she did that for no credit in the movie, but her name does show up in the credits under Nome Residence, okay, and it's the only name there, and it's really quite interesting. And then so we know that it is in fact an act, but see, when I was investigating this at first, I'm like, well, this kind of looks like it might be real, even though there's all this stuff debunking it, and of course Wikipedia says, oh yeah, it was panned, I really trust Wikipedia. I trust Wikipedia so much. Oh yeah. But anyway, so if you don't know, Wikipedia is total BS, working for the satanic Illuminati government. Well, you gotta wake up. Okay, so anyway, but we see that actually that act is terrific, and the footage they use is so good and convincing, and especially convincing, not the fact that they use Sumerian, because that's the most ancient language known to man as far as our records go. Of course, the Vatican and a bunch of other people in the know may have access to a whole bunch of other stuff that we don't. But as far as what they release, they say that that's the oldest known language on Earth that has been recovered from antiquity. And but in any case, so we see that in fact it is a fake, and Abigail Tyler is a fictional character. But think about this, okay? Now what I was going to say was convincing about what she says in the movie is that when she is saying that the thing that possessed her, she says it's despair. When she asks, because the interviewer says, so we hear that thing say that it's God speaking through you, and then she says, no, it can pretend to be, but what I felt inside of me was despair. And so here's my thought about it. Okay, the whole thing. If you're curious into alien abduction and you're looking into this, the Fourth Kind is a smear campaign against abductees and the whole phenomena of abduction. But it's done in such a way that, as we now know in the truther movement, all good lies have some truth mixed in. All deception campaigns have some real, actual disclosing truth that actually tells people that didn't know before some true things, so they get some damage in that way. But by no means is it not profitable, because they don't do the whole thing that they do for no profit whatsoever. Okay, so there was a profit, there was a reason, there was a gain to be had, not money. Okay, that's what you got to realize. The Fourth Kind is. It's not about money. Okay, they weren't in it for a buck. But here's a few other things to consider why I thought this might be real. Because they show a real child at the end, saying that this child is missing and that is her daughter, and their claim is completely brazen, saying that this is actual. These are real events. Talking about the FBI people visiting Nome, and all this stuff going on. So there probably were some abductions, or maybe there weren't in that area, but this is done once again, to discredit people, the whole abduction phenomena, which is massive, okay? And so when people think of abduction and they think of the elements that are in this movie, they think, okay, this is BS. If somebody's mentioning stuff about ancient Sumerian, this is mentioning stuff about you know, some of the elements that are in the movie, like seeing the owl. You see that, and by the way, the owl is a common thing that people are seeing. Abductees are, in fact, seeing this creature. In fact, I know somebody who says that they saw an owl, Jan Brennan, as part of her abduction experiences. So when somebody mentions that, then they think, oh, the fourth abduction. Oh yeah, see, that's you know, part of this whole BS campaign to make money, or somebody started a rumor and the whole thing is just, you know, stuff that people whipped up because they're bored. They want something interesting and exciting to believe in. If you look at the production value of this movie, they screwed up a little bit, in my opinion, on the fake camera shots, because in this one shot you can see a little bit of slow panning in a camera that's supposed to be on the ground, and somebody dropped it, you know, freaking out. And so it's, you know, you can tell that from that, and also from the Charlotte's performance there. It's just a little bit too much like a good actress, and she is a good actress. She's also phenomenally beautiful, in my opinion. Just her slender physique, you know. But and her that fair skin, you know, and her kind of fine features. She almost looks like a hybrid, probably is, or at least, you know, I think actually we're all hybrids, or a lot of us are at least, because I think that the people talking about Earth actually being a mix of of all kinds of humans that throughout the galaxies, you know, the Asians, the blacks, all different kinds of people, is probably correct. It's not just that all of us are descended from Adam. That's not the story. I believe that there were humans that looked just like us that existed long before Adam. Adam was the first being that was called man. So that doesn't mean there weren't human beings. Remember, we're talking all different kinds of languages in between, so the whole thing is a little bit hard to put your finger on. But the thing that I would take away from the whole fourth kind is that one thing I have learned about these serpents, and it's something that Frequency Fence learned before, poor guy went a little bit shit batty, but one of the things that he learned was that these creatures, they live and breathe deception. They live by deception. And I was going to say, they live by smear campaigns. And so one of the things that their allies and their people that are doing in Hollywood is to make movies that not only smear people, but I think are also occult ritual magic ceremonies. So that when this movie is made, they can probably put an occult ritual magic spell on it, that everybody who sees it, and or in general, some kind of force that's behind it, that's behind the elements that are in the movie, somehow works against the truth. People who might see those elements, like the owl, like the Sumerian language, the abductions, you know, the whole thing. When they see those elements, their minds will be turned away, or something, some kind of tool that works in favor of them keeping a lid on the fact that Earth is now what it was before the days of Noah. It's now a soup of their mixing of beast DNA with human DNA. So and they're, you know, because they're apparently what they try to do is, at least my feeling about it all, is that these beasts were former angels. So they had and the angels, as we understand, have the appearance of a man. You see that in the scripture. He says the measure of an angel, that is, or the measure of a man, that is the angel, and other things that tell us that angels had the appearance of a man, except with wings. Okay, at least in some cases, there's different kinds of angels. And so what it is that this is done to essentially it's a ritual magic and discredit and confusion. You see, I think there's another element and purpose they do this. It's to add confusion and despair by that confusion that there is, in fact, any sort of abduction phenomena that they can put a finger on. I think that's one of the key tactics that they've learned over a longer period of time than humans have to contemplate these issues and know that they work over time, because I was thinking earlier that these creatures have just a complete, perfect psychological profile on human beings. They know exactly what works on different types. In fact, I was just listening to this guy, post-disclosure channel, I forget what the full name of it is, but anyway, he makes a good case for the fact that it's all AI, and that disclosure is being run by alien AI. I challenged him that all advanced ETs say that they believe that the Earth is, or the universe is created by somebody, and even a lot of them say that it was a father and mother figure. These aliens, okay, this is their not biblical, saying that there was a father and mother who have long since disappeared, and they don't know where they are or where they went. And of course, I mean, if they're aliens from other planets, they're going to have all different kinds of ideas about who and what God is that created, or who it was that created the universe. Maybe they don't even call it God. That I didn't hear, because I didn't hear any sort of godliness from these aliens. But they do believe that it's somebody's creation. That's the interesting issue. So my feeling about the fourth kind is that a lot of the elements of it are true. Like, for instance, the part of the abduction was that whole thing is also possession, demonic possession, and the big wide mouth. I think there's truth elements to that. I've seen a lot of that. Like, you see that big wide mouth goes, "Aah!" And I think that's because that's something that a lot of people see. So it could, another argument is that they could say, well, what it really was that somebody did some research into alien abduction, and they found a lot of these elements that contain things like that huge mouth going, "Rah!" and some of the things that these so-called aliens say, which in fact are, they actually are aliens, but they're demonic. They're fallen angels. They're former fallen angels turned into beasts. So you could say that they're demons, but I don't think that's the same thing. I think demons are spirit entities from the second heaven, that they have a whole universe that they're from, like the same universe and dimension of Satan's main 3 bases under the ocean. At least that's something I've heard about. I'm not sure if it's true, but anyway, the dimension that the demons are from, they indwell man, and there's like 10,000 demons for every human. They're much more numerous than humans are, and they're constantly looking for ways to enter into us. They're motivated to find a way to enter into us, and they enter into us from the womb, from generations, all this stuff. We're married to these demons practically, okay? But they reflect our challenges. But that's different than what we're seeing with the or at least I think it is different from what we're seeing with the aliens from the alien abduction, which I think are the either the hybrids or the robotoid soldiers, servants of the insectoids, who are mostly involved with the genetic splicing, because the reptilians aren't quite as fluent in genetics as we hear some of the people from Barbara Lamb's book Meet the Hybrids and others have reported saying. So I think it's the insectoids, and also I think that the Greys, in my opinion, are in fact insectoid human hybrids, and they're deeply degenerate, and that's why they have to abduct people for fresh food and DNA and blood and everything else, and after they've probably molested them and sucked as much energy out of them as they possibly can, then they just throw them in a vat, and then they use the blood and everything from that to feed the hybrids, as described in Dr. David Jacobs' book, The Threat.